You've got a new film coming out soon, Last Train of Fortune, and mentorship and the importance of educations are such a cornerstone of that story. Who were the people in your own life who've impacted your journey as a storyteller, an artist, and did you channel them into that dynamic between your character and Malcolm's?
Yeah, that's a great question. Last Train to Fortune really just as a project it attracted me because not only was it an opportunity to get to work with a master like Malcolm McDowell. I mean, it's basically Malcolm and I on a horse throughout the entire journey of this film, and it's kind of a buddy movie, but it's really my experience making the film paralleled in some ways the character I was playing because I was learning in real time all these great acting all this great acting advice from Malcolm, but my character in the film, he's learning from Malcolm's character because Malcolm plays an English school teacher who comes over to the Old West and he to take a job position at this budding frontier town called Fortune. They need a new schoolmaster, and he gets held up by a young outlaw at the train station who I play. And he convinces me during the robbery to shepherd him the 2-day ride with my horse to the town in exchange for his advanced salary for the job. And he teaches my character the importance of reading and about how books can take you on anywhere and on any adventure. And at the beginning, my character is very reticent about that. He says, "I live out real adventures. I don't need to read about it, no one else's."
Mm.
And by the end of it, it's quite touching because it's really a love letter to great teachers. And I've been lucky just growing up. I had many amazing teachers. I had one particular her name was Jenna Collins, and I had her early on. Actually, I had her in fourth grade and first grade, and the only homework she would assign is reading because she felt like if she could foster a love of reading, um, the rest of education would follow, in kids, and I firmly believe that. So that's really the core message of the film. But it's just a really fun kind of adventure through the Old West. But it's relevant today because there's places where books are being banned across the country, and when that kind of stuff happens, it's usually minority groups that are affected first,
Mm.
LGBTQ community and other minority stories that are usually getting banned. And I mean, it's a serious issue. And so I feel that even though the film is set in the Old West, it has a very topical message for today. So I felt like I'm sorry, I was a little all over the place with the answer there, but I'm very passionate about this movie, and I just want it to get out into the world and be seen.
Yeah, no, that was a fantastic answer. And you also teased a bit about this character and how he has a very drastic transformation throughout the film. For you as an actor, how do you create the space for yourself to tackle that arc? And being a multifaceted talent, how much does music play a role in helping you prepare for a project and character?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think whenever you have the opportunity to take a character through an arc that the audience can see, there's a transformation, there's something that the character's learning in real time with the audience. I think that y those are the most thrilling and exciting things to portray. And I've been very lucky in my career. I've had some great jobs where I've gotten to show that, like Eyewitness and Last Train is similar in that my character you see go through this whole journey, and an inner journey as well, a literal journey and an inner journey. But music also for me, I grew up, music has always been my hobby and my passion and something that I've always been able to do regardless. I can do it on my own time. It's not like acting where you struggle through the
Mm.
audition process and you get the jobs you get, and you don't really, you have to wait for somebody to tell you, here, you can do this, to give you the job. With music, it's just a free freedom of expression for me. And I've been trying to find ways to bring it more into the characters that I play. I really want to combine it in a very practical sense, but I always make playlists for characters. I think that that's one of the most fun entry level things that you can do when you're make doing foundational work about a character. I know that Tyler and I on Eyewitness, we made playlists for the character, and then we made a playlist for their relationship as well, which was really fun. Um, with Last Train, the playlist was it wasn't like I was able to keep it time appropriate because or it was the movie set in 1873. But yeah, I try to I think that music informs acting and vice versa for me.
I feel like storytellers should have to be required to release these playlists when new projects come out because I feel like it's so interesting to hear that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but not only are you starring in it, but you also produced it. How have your experiences behind the camera, because you've done it a couple of times now, influenced your work on screen and vice versa?
Yeah, yeah. So I did produce this. I find that the things that I've done in my career have had a natural progression to them, and I realized that if I'm going to really get involved in the filmmaking process beyond just being an actor on screen, which has always been my goal. I mean, you got to take it step by step, of course, but my goal has always been to learn every component of the entirety of the filmmaking process. And producing was just kind of a necessity in that respect because and it also gave me a little more power to champion and the stories that I want to tell. I'm very passionate about the message of this film, and I want to work on things that have a positive impact. That are not just popcorn entertainment. No disrespect to that. I think everything has a time and place, but it's just I want to work on things that I believe in, and so I think you get to this point as an actor, you realize you got to take some power back if you can, because there's very little to be had anyways. And so producing was where I felt like I could take it. And I'm a creative producer on this film. I mean, I did not have a financial stake in it. It was more so about casting. Came up with a lot of casting. I worked,
Mm.
shot the characters with Malcolm, and went through the script drafts with Adam and his mother. And it was all about the creative element of producing. I found some locations for the film. And I learned a lot. I learned you learn so much about stuff that you would never have seen coming or even be aware of if you're just acting. Although you have to when you start filming, there's a mode where you have to switch. Like I couldn't. I had to go, okay, you know
Yeah.
what? Now we're shooting. I have to strictly be in the character's headspace and thinking about my work, and I've got to leave the rest of it up to the other producers. But I felt really honored to get to produce this, and I hope to produce more in the future. I'm working on a few other features as well to produce.
Thinking of like continuing to champion stories that you're passionate about in front of and behind the camera, what are those kind of types of projects that speak to you?
And any kind of social injustices always fascinate me because I think that you have to use art to create empathy sometimes. There's almost no other way to people who may be more closed-minded to certain things and ideas and perspectives and other ways of life. And if they hadn't seen a great series or movie or I mean, it can be music too, but just something through art that can touch them and change or maybe just get them to second guess something or think a little more about how they may, how they might have certain prejudices and rethink those. And and I love period pieces. I'd love to do a biopic one day on somebody. I think that there's almost no greater challenge and responsibility that an actor can have as when they're playing a real person. I've dreamt about playing David Bowie or Tom Petty or somebody like that because I want to incorporate the
Yeah.
music like I said earlier. But yeah, I think that yeah, so social causes. I'd love to do something that's in that really speaks to the environmental crisis that we're facing. I think Last Train for me was really a love letter to all the great teachers that I've had in my life. And you know, even if you had just one, this movie celebrates them. I think, you know, the role of the teacher in America especially is very undervalued. I mean, clearly it's undervalued
Mhm.
financially. It's taken for granted, and you know, we would be nowhere without, you know, our teachers and our educators. You know, so yeah, I just have to find something that I believe is important about the project.
Beautifully said. And to your point, I think art has that ability to be a gateway for people to get in and see new perspectives, and you're creating a lasting impact in the roles that you've taken on. You know, in addition to Last Train to Fortune, you're also going to be seen in the upcoming Twisters, and this project is going to introduce this iconic film to a new generation. What has it meant to you to be a part about this franchise and also honor the legacy of your father?
Yes, great question. Thank you. So while I can't say too much specifically about the Twisters role, it is a cameo, and it is a way for me to just infuse Dad's spirit into this new one, and celebrate fans of the original, as well as celebrate, you know, the passing of the torch, which is something that is a part of life. And I just, it's tough because, you know, it's emotionally complex for me. I wish it was him in the sequel, appearing in the sequel, and not me. But you know, I guess that, you know, given the circumstances, I ended up feeling like maybe this is the best way I can honor him and do this for him, as well as fans of the original, and also give my blessing to this version. You know, I really enjoyed Glenn Powell. He's a really sweet guy, as well as Daisy Edgar Jones. She's lovely. And it's just tricky because I'm, you know, I've been acting professionally for 10 years now, and I am my own person, and I have my own thing. I'm not that similar to my dad in a lot of regards, but I'm also, you know, I was as close as ever with my dad, and he was my best friend. And so I never want to shy away from celebrating him and homaging him. And so that's kind of where I realized, you know what, this is a very special thing if I can kind of be there to represent him. And you know, it's not my film, it's not my it's just, I just did a little cameo to homage him, but I hope the film is a massive success, and I'm really grateful to the filmmakers. I really love the director, Lee Isaac Chung. He's you know, directed Minari, which was one of my favorite films that the year it came out, I think 3 or 4 years ago now. And it was so great to work with Isaac. He goes by his middle name, and he was cool. And so it was special all around, but also complex and hard to put into words, you know?
Yeah. It must have meant so much to the creative team to have your involvement, and then you're doing your father so proud. You know, and then outside of the film and television industry, you're also a singer, songwriter, and musician, and you're embarking on an exciting new chapter in your career with the release of solo music. Can you tell us a little bit about your upcoming single and the inspiration behind it?
Yes, thank you for that question. I'm very excited to talk about my upcoming single. I'm releasing a song called Count on Me on July 12th. And it is my first release ever as a solo music artist. I've made music since I was 13 with a band of mine called Flamingo Dogs. And then 5 years ago, I ended up starting another band that was sort of an extension of that one. And I've always loved to dabble in different musical genres, but this solo project, I'm releasing it under the name Love Pax, like love, comma Pax. It's kind of my literal signature moniker. A lot of people growing up called me Pax or J Pax, and was my nickname. And it really, this song is a song I wrote a long time ago. It's kind of part of a collection of songs I've written on guitar ever since my dad passed, and so they're very personal. But I was also very nervous for a long time because I'm a perfectionist, and I was nervous to record under my own kind of umbrella and
Mm.
outlet for music, because I'd never done it before. So I've been working on these songs for a long time, and I got to produce it with a wonderful guy named Nicholas Thompson. And the cool thing about this song is I recorded it during my off days in Oklahoma when I was shooting Twisters. So I did it. My friend has a studio in Norman, Oklahoma, and he produced the song with me. And it's me playing guitar and singing, and it's he added some textural production elements like strings and bass and some piano keys. And I'm really proud of it. I shot a music video as well for it, directed by Greg Gorman, and it has old Super 8 millimeter film footage of films my dad made when he was a teenager back in the 70s that have never been seen before. And I intercut family footage as well as footage from those films into this music video. And so it's kind of the most personal thing I've ever released into the world. So I'm very excited, but also kind of nervous about it.
And you touched upon this already, but you've been a part of two bands. How have those experiences prepared you for this moment now?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Working with the two bands over the years has taught me more about what it means to collaborate creatively than just about anything. I've learned a ton from my film and TV experience too, but it's a little different because when you work in bands, you're sort of all on the same you're all trying to do the same thing on the same playing field, and it can be really challenging figuring out how to creatively make them work. And there's been struggles over the years, but we've always been so proud of the final product and the music that we get to, and that we land on and put out. It's but Yeah, I don't think I could have just jumped straight into releasing my own music had I not had those experiences in those bands. And I still make music with those bands. They're some of my oldest friends and dearest collaborators, and I'm always going to make music with them as well. And they're kind of a way to get to explore different genres of music, just like exploring different kinds of characters and different genres of film. Because in Sound Days, that's one of my bands. We do more, I mean, it's a blend of genres, but we do more alternative hip hop leaning stuff, kind of like Brockhampton type.
Mhm.
And then Flamingo Dogs was sort of similar as well as that over the years, but we've kind of branched into doing more upbeat electronic dance music. And then my Love Pack stuff couldn't be more different. It's more like the
Yeah.
influences are Iron and Wine, Elliott Smith, Jose Gonzalez, very Nick Drake, like very kind of soft, introspective, mellow guitar music that is a bit melancholic, I would say.
Yeah, it's a very folky and singer-songwriter. I was very surprised when I heard the single, just knowing the other two bands that you're a part of. I got one final question for you, and you've already touched upon this, but you've recorded a bunch of music for this project that you have coming out. Are we leading towards maybe a debut album as a solo artist? I know you're like always filming, but are there plans to potentially maybe hit the road and tour the album if it comes out?
Absolutely. I definitely will be building towards a debut album, but it's going to take some time. I'm going to release singles for a while and really focus on that. But I will eventually be releasing an album, and I would love to be able to perform these songs. I mean, a lot of them I'd like to perform with some accompaniment, instrumentally because I play guitar in a very rhythm player basic kind of way. Like I don't I kind of I taught myself in the last like 7 years, and I'm still kind of, I would say, at beginner level. I know enough to play and sing and write songs, but I want to play with more experienced musicians who can add textural elements and something to the performance as well. So I'd like to find collaborators in that realm if and when I do start performing live. But I absolutely want to. Yes.